It is dark, not the kind of dark you close your eyes to escape, the kind that presses against them. You try to move your arms. You can't. There is iron around your wrists. There is someone's shoulder against your face, someone's knees against your ribs. You don't know their name. You don't know if they are alive. The air is thick. It tastes like sweat and fear and something else, something metallic. Someone nearby is whispering a prayer in a language you recognize. It sounds like home, but home is gone. The last thing you remember is fire, shouting, running, your mother's voice, then the march, then the shore, and now this. You are 16 years old, and the ocean above you is swallowing the sound of your people. History will call this a voyage, a trade route, a passage, but there was nothing gentle about it, nothing clean, nothing simple. Beneath the deck of these ships were not statistics. There were fathers, there were daughters, there were children who would never again feel the earth of their homeland. Tonight, we are going below deck, into the space where light could not reach, into the space where humanity was tested in ways we can barely comprehend. This is what they don't show you. Close your eyes. Imagine the ocean at night. No stars, no moon, just the sound of water crashing against wood. Now imagine you are not standing on the deck. You are underneath it, in the dark. You cannot stand up. You cannot stretch your legs. You cannot breathe properly. The air smells of sweat, blood, sickness, and fear. You do not know where you are going. You do not know if you will ever see home again. And history books will reduce this to 2 words: Middle Passage. But what happened inside those ships, what happened in the darkness beneath the deck, is something they rarely show you. Tonight, we are going there. Before the ship, there was a village. Across regions of West and Central Africa, life was not a blank page waiting for Europeans. There were families, markets, drums at sunset, children chasing each other through dust paths. Then came the raid. Some were captured during wars. Some were kidnapped at night. Some were betrayed. The journey to the coast could take weeks, chained by the neck, forced to march, watched by armed men. By the time they reached the coast, many were already exhausted, physically and spiritually. At coastal forts like Elmina Castle in modern-day Ghana, captives were held in dungeons, dark, airless, crowded, men, women, and children, packed together for days or weeks. Above them, traders negotiated prices. Below them, humanity waited to be shipped. When the day came, they were taken to the shore. Some had never seen the ocean before. Imagine seeing endless water and being told you are going into it. They were loaded onto ships operated by European powers. But here is what they don't show you. These ships were not built for comfort. They were modified for maximum human cargo. Wooden shelves were installed below deck. Think of bunk beds. Now remove the mattress. Remove the space. Remove the dignity. Men were often shackled together at the wrists and ankles. They were laid down side by side, so tightly packed that turning over was almost impossible. On some voyages, more than 400 people were crammed into a single ship for weeks, sometimes months. Below deck, there was almost no light. The ceiling was sometimes less than 5 feet high. The heat was suffocating. The air was thick. People vomited. People cried out. People prayed in languages their captors did not understand. Disease spread quickly. Dysentery, smallpox, infections. If one person became sick, it did not stay contained. Bodies were not always immediately removed. Imagine lying next to someone who has died and not being able to move away. Women faced horrors beyond the chains. Many were taken above deck at night. There are records that document assault as routine. But what records cannot capture is the sound of a mother trying to soothe her child in the dark, or the silence of a child who has stopped crying. Sometimes captives were brought above deck to exercise. They were forced to jump or dance, not for joy, but to keep their muscles alive so they could be sold for a higher price. And yet, even in that darkness, there was resistance. Some refused to eat. This was called hunger strike by traders, but it was protest. It was the last form of control left. Some broke free of their chains. There were revolts on ships crossing the Atlantic. On certain voyages, captives overtook crews. Some ships never reached their destination. Some people chose the ocean. They jumped overboard, not because they could swim home, but because death felt closer to freedom than bondage. In some spiritual traditions, the soul would return home across the water. Think about that. Even in chains, even starving, even beaten, the human spirit fought back. Historians estimate that over 12 million Africans were forced across the Atlantic during the transatlantic slave trade. Nearly 2 million died during the voyage. But numbers are clean. They are tidy. They do not show you the face of a father who never saw his daughter again. They do not show you siblings separated on arrival. Ports in the Americas became destinations of this suffering. Ships landed, chains were removed, auctions began, and the world moved forward. But the trauma did not disappear. It lived in bodies, in memory, in bloodlines. They don't show you how the smell of the ship stayed in people's minds for decades. They don't show you how songs carried coded grief. They don't show you how generations were born from people who survived something almost unspeakable. They don't show you that beneath the brutality, there were names, not cargo, not property, names, languages, dreams. The slave ship was not just transportation. It was a floating prison, a floating grave, a machine designed to break people, but it failed to destroy their humanity completely because culture survived, music survived, faith survived, resistance survived. When we talk about slavery, we often talk about plantations, but before the plantation, there was the ship. Before the whip, there was the chain. Before the auction, there was the darkness. The Atlantic Ocean holds stories. Stories of pain. Stories of courage. Stories of people who endured what most of us cannot even imagine. The next time you hear the phrase, Middle Passage, remember, it was not a passage. It was a nightmare. And the fact that millions survived it is not just history. It is proof of an unbreakable human spirit